Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for September 17th through 23rd. This week I read one book, I watched 2 shows, and I listened to 1 book. Obviously, this is not my normal setup, and if you look at that handy-dandy geolocator down below, I'm in a completely different place than I usually live. I'm currently in Yellowknife, which is in the Northwest Territories, and usually I'm in BC. Over the past week, we've driven all the way up here via Alberta, and yeah, it's been a lot of driving, so I'm really glad I don't have to do any driving today. However, when we woke up yesterday morning, it was the grossest day in city history, and I'll link that article down below, but I'm going to show you some photos from it because yeah, there's been some wildfires up here, which is partially why we're visiting. Chad has relatives that live up here, and like 60% of the territory was evacuated, including his twin, his cousin, his aunt, his uncle, and technically his best friend was already in Alberta at this point, but his best friend's partner was still up here and she had to evacuate, and yeah, it's a whole big thing. That's just a long rambly way of justifying that I did not complete a lot of things this week. The one book that I managed to finish this week is The Society for Soulless Girls. This is a dark academia book that takes place in Northumberland, and you have 2 point of view characters, Lottie and Alice. Lottie is very sporty, she plays field hockey, and Alice is very, very much the grumpy academic. They're both going to this school that's been closed for the last 10 years because 10 years previously 4 different people died by either falling or being pushed off the North Tower, and there's a whole mystery surrounding those deaths. However, the school is now open. Lottie really wants to know what happened to one of these girls in particular because her family knew her, and Alice has this anger that she's always felt in herself, so when she finds this book that has this kind of ritual she can do to get rid of that anger, she's really intrigued. This book has some supernatural things, it has some sapphic things, it talks about asexuality a bit, which I always appreciate. And if you're looking for something dark and weird that has a road trip to Edinburgh, this will be right up your alley. Speaking of media I consumed this week that took place in Edinburgh, at least for one of the episodes, we also watched the next couple of episodes of the 2nd season of Good Omens. So episode 3 and 4, and one of those took place in Edinburgh, which, if you don't know, is my favorite city. This continues to be entertaining. We only have the 2 episodes left, and I know that the big thing that I was spoiled for obviously is going to happen in one of those. I'm just gonna assume it's gonna be in the last one because why not? But the small thing I was spoiled for was there was going to be at least a scene in Edinburgh because I overheard my roommate watching this and I was like, ah, yes, my favorite city, perfect. It was also really interesting for me that the plots of those scenes were about body snatching because I used to be a tour guide in Edinburgh, and I actually used to tour into a couple of different cemeteries in the city and would talk about body snatching. The other show I watched this week was the first 6 episodes or so of the 2nd season of Heartstopper, which obviously is very delightful. Since I've read some of the comic and obviously a bunch of Alice Oseman books, I knew a little bit about what was coming when it came to why Charlie doesn't tend to eat all that much. So when Chad was like, huh, yeah, he just said that he ate, but he didn't eat at the other place, I'm like, yeah, I hate to break it to you, but this is a problem for him. With a specific name that YouTube doesn't like you saying, so that's the only reason I'm not saying it. I don't usually censor myself or try to get around the keywords that YouTube doesn't like you to say. That also makes me wonder if that's the reason why not a lot of people see my videos, so here we are. As I said, this continues to be delightful, and I'm excited to eventually get around to finishing the rest of it when we have a little bit more downtime. The book I listened to this week is A Very Typical Family. This is about 3 siblings. Our main character is the one that sent the other 2 siblings to prison, or at least that's how it's kind of framed. On the day where she's supposed to get a promotion and she's very excited for it, and then it ends up that she doesn't get it and it goes to someone she did not expect, and that's a really big problem. She also gets a letter from a lawyer saying, I'm sorry to inform you, but your mother died a couple of months ago and she left the house to you, this big huge house in Santa Cruz, but she also left it to your 2 siblings, and in order for you to inherit, all 3 of you need to be there within 3 months of this letter's date to inherit, or else it's going to a historical society. She's really scared about this because obviously she wants to inherit the house. She works in architecture, she works in an architecture firm, so that would be fantastic for her to be able to fix up this old house and live in it and all those types of things, but she also hasn't seen her siblings since they went away to prison. They were only in prison for a few years, but she's pretty sure they're mad at her and don't ever want to see her again, and she starts this cross-country road trip to go see if she can get them all together at the same time. This one is full of family strife and interesting dynamics and relationships, and I ended up really enjoying it. I originally picked this as my book set in New York for one of the Jonathan Larson prompts for the Rent-to-Readathon, and none of the scenes were in New York. I just figured at least one might be because one of the characters lives in New York, but I had to strike it off that list, which is totally fine. I still really enjoyed myself, even though this didn't fit that prompt. It does fit the contemporary prompt though, so I moved that over to Roger. By the way, my TBR for the Rent-Readathon, I am not doing so great because so many things have come up that I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to read this and I should prioritize that and the other thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what my TBR looked like at the beginning and what I ended up putting into those prompts by the end of this month. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!
Oh no! I was in there, I'm like, huh? I see Auntie Barb, I'm like,